All right, Larry Krueger here from the Pig and a Pickle Krueg Show with our 49ers look ahead to the NFL draft, our final mock draft. Now, we've done 5. This is going to be mock draft 6.0, I believe. And we've done it a bunch of different ways, right? We've done it, one, with tons of trades, trading back, trading up, accumulating more picks. We've done it with, where we've just picked where the Niners have picked. We've gone with who I would go with. We've gone with who I think they're going to pick. Today's mock draft, we're going to go with what I think they're actually likely to do. And I had to decide one way or another. Did I want to, make this a mock draft, that included, a trade of Trey Lance or Brandon Ayuk or Javon Kinlaw, or do I not want to do that? Well, the way these mock drafts work, it gets kind of complicated if you wind up, trying to trade players and that kind of thing. But I do really believe that Trey Lance is likely to get moved this weekend. So how do I come to grips with that? What exactly do I want to, how do I want to do this exercise and still make that work? So what I'm starting this mock draft with is a trade of Trey Lance to the Washington Commanders for defensive end Montez Sweat and a conditional pick in the 2024 draft based on how Trey plays. So if he plays really well, I think that can be as high as a second-round pick. If he plays really poorly, it can be as low as a fifth-round pick. And everything in between. So that's kind of how I would shape the beginning of this draft. I'm moving Trey Lance, committing to Brock Purdy, moving him to the Commanders for Montez Sweat, which gives you a star edge rusher who's a free agent at the end of the year. That's the downside. And a conditional pick in next year's draft based on how Trey plays. So that's kind of what we're looking at as far as going into the draft. So that means edge rusher becomes a need, but maybe less of a need because you got Montez Sweat. But now you have a new need, right? Because you got quarterback, and that's definitely becomes more of a primary need. So with that being said, I've got 7 rounds, fast, Niners clicked. Let's draft. Here we go. And the first pick overall is Bryce Young. C.J. Stroud did go number 2 to the Texans in this draft. Kalijah Kancey is off the board in the first round. We're now into the second round. We're into the third round, coming up on our pick at 99. And there it is. All right. So let's we're being made a trade proposal here for pick number 99. We've got 2 trade offers. One is from Kansas City saying we'll give you pick number 122 and linebacker Willie Gay for pick number 99 and pick number 173. I really like Willie Gay. Then you've got the Jets calling saying I'll take pick 112 and I'll give you pick 112 for 99, move back 13 spots, and we'll give you pick 170. All right. That's interesting too. Those are both interesting trades. But I think I'm going to take this one with the Jets. Why? Because you're picking in 2 picks anyway. So even if there's a player you like on the board, there's only one more pick, and it's the Dallas Cowboys. So I'll move back to 112 to get that extra pick. I like the idea of the extra pick. Now I'm at pick 101, and the Chiefs are calling again, and they're offering to drop down to 122, and they're offering pick 134, and you have to offer your 7th-round pick as well. I like that as well. It's a 2-for-2 swap, but it gets you another player in the top 150 for a 7th-round pick and moving down a few spots. So now we're picking at 102. So now we're basically looking at the exact same board. All that happened, we had the pick at 99. It went Cameron Latu from Bama, Kayshon Boutte, who I'm not a fan of, from LSU, and Bergeron, the tackle from Syracuse. Some people like Bergeron, but the Niners are sitting at 102, and they also pick at 112. So now let's look at the board. You don't really need that defensive end as much as you thought because you got Montez Sweat. Jalen Duncan's there if you wanted to go offensive tackle. Zach Pickens is there. Jaden Reed, the receiver from Michigan State's there. Roshan Johnson's there from Texas, the running back, a leader, terrific player, locker room guy, really physical, very intriguing, but they're loaded at running back. Jonathan Mingo's there, and Mingo's a terrific receiver. Both of the Youngs are there, Byron Young and from Tennessee and Byron Young from Alabama, and I like all those guys. Nick Hampton's there from Appalachian State, but you've already got the edge rusher. All right, I'm actually going to surprise people here. I think the 49ers care a ton about their defensive line. They've got the edge rusher, but they can always use another player, and I like Byron Young from Alabama. So I'm taking him right there. So now we're at 112, and you're still needing an offensive tackle. And to me, one of the guys who I think is a real sleeper offensive tackle candidate is this kid right here, McClendon Curtis from Chattanooga. Why? Just because he played left tackle this year for Chattanooga. He played right guard much of his career. He's got super long arms. He's 6'6", 325. He's not ready to play today, but I think in a year under Chris Forster, he could be really good at right tackle. I'm going to take McClendon Curtis right there at offensive tackle. Now we're at 122, and the Cowboys are offering the same kind of trade that we got offered before, which is trade your 7th-round pick. You'll move down 7 spots, but they'll give you a pick at 176, and you give up your pick late in the 7th round. I'm doing that deal. I still have the same number of picks. I just have them grouped there. Now, unfortunately, in this situation, 3 players that I really liked all came off the board. Clayton Tune, Jacorian Bennett, and Keitrell Clark are all off the board. So I am going to look into the secondary, look at corner. Some interesting corners. Corey Trice from Purdue is a big corner. Riley Moss from Iowa. Rajon Wright I like a lot. Terrell Smith. Let's look at the safeties. Trey Dean's a good player from Florida. Jarvarius Owens they met with a couple times from Houston, but he's a little further down the board. All right, let's go defensive. We've went defensive tackle already, so let's jump to the offense. Who's the best quarterback here? You can go Dorian Thompson-Robinson if you want. You're at 129. That'll be a little early, but he's the top quarterback on the board. Do you like him? Do you like Max Duggan? Do you like Jake Haener? You pick at 134. Those guys could go. If you don't go DTR here, he could be gone. Roshan Johnson is great value for sure that he's still here. Who's the tight end? Tight end, the Schoonmaker kid. I think I'm going Schoonmaker, the tight end from Michigan right there. Are you at 134, and you can, once again, move down 4 spots and pick up 190 and give 222. So you're basically just moving up in this draft to try to get fewer, really the same number of players, just more condensed picks together and less later round guys. That's an interesting one. That's only 4 spots. And I think I'm doing that. I think I'm going to do that. So let's take a look at who's on the all at this point. So you're in the 5th round, top half of the 5th round. And so far you've gotten a defensive tackle. You've already added Montez Sweat in the trade. You've added McClendon Curtis and Luke Schoonmaker. Now you're at 138. You better look at those quarterbacks again. Now Roshan Johnson is sitting there as a running back. But now you may need to take a look at the quarterbacks. And DTR is there, and Duggan's there, and Haener's there, and Cunningham's there. I think it's Haener. I think it's Haener they like. I think he's the more ready-to-play guy right now than Trey. I think that's the guy they had in mind when they made that trade. So I'm going to go Jake Haener. Now I'm at 155. And Roshan Johnson is still there, and he is a tremendous player. Really, and he's a leader. He's really a really good player. But Riley Moss is there, and I need a corner. I'm going Riley Moss out of Iowa. Really solid corner. I'm at 164, and I can move back to 175, 11 spots, and give 247 and move up to 196. That's interesting. Let's see. Who's on the board? Who's the top player on the board? Roshan Johnson's still on the board. You can also go with the Outland Trophy winner if you wanted. Oluwatimi, the center from Michigan. That's an intriguing option. Rajon Wright, Payne Durham, I should say. Dorian Thompson-Robinson. Ali Gay's interesting to me. I think this is where I'm going with the speed back, Keaton Mitchell. Keaton Mitchell is just such a home run hitter. I can't pass up Keaton Mitchell. I mean, 2 steps, 4.3 speed. He's the Mostert that you haven't had. You can flex him out, use him as a wide receiver. He's just really, really dangerous. Okay, so let's look at what you got now. You got Byron Young, defensive tackle. You've added Montez Sweat as an edge rusher. You've got McClendon Curtis, who's a future right tackle. Schoonmaker, who's a nice tight end for sure. Jake Hayner, you got a veteran quarterback. You got a corner in Riley Moss, who's a terrific zone corner. You could probably use another corner, a slot corner. You got Keaton Mitchell, and you still have what? 1, 2, 3, 4. You got 6 picks left, including this pick at 170. All right, so let's go back to close that out. We'll go back to all. And who's the best player on the board now? Now, also, you want to go position by position. Roschon Johnson's interesting because he is 225 pounds, and there's a lot to like there. I mean, he's a home run hitter, but you've just drafted Keaton Mitchell, and you're pretty stacked at running back. So I don't know that that's going to be the route. Let's take a look at some of these positions. Running back, you can go with Roschon Johnson. If you went receiver, Demario Douglas, I think I like a lot from Liberty. Great stop and start ability. You got Elijah Higgins there as a tight end, I think. Matt Landers, Darius Davis, Michael Jefferson. These guys down here, these receivers are really good. Tight end-wise, you could go another tight end here. You can go offensive line again. Let's see who the offensive linemen are. Let's take a look at that. Is that Joey Fisher guy still available? To me, he is a tough brawling offensive tackle. And I know this thing sometimes had him a little lower. I don't see him here. Let's see. Let's check the guards. Antonio Maffei might be a good pick here from UCLA. Saul DeVary, not a bad pick either. There's Joey Fisher. I'm going Joey Fisher out of Shepherd. And now I'm at 173. Let's go back to all. See who the best player is. You're still staring at that Texas running back, and he's just a tremendous player. How do I pass on that guy? I don't need that player, but maybe he could be a backup to Juice. Maybe he's the replacement for Juice down the road. Payne Durham's interesting. He's a really solid tight end. They probably could use 2 tight ends, but I kind of like the kid from Stanford. I think I'm going edge rusher and Yaya Diaby. Too athletic, too fast, too explosive. Really like Diaby quite a bit. All right, now we're at the end of the 5th round. And at this point, you're looking for just guys that you think are special. And that somehow you think that have been looked over. Usually in the 5th round, you're looking for guys who are 3rd round guys that just got passed over. Let's take a look once again at who we've got. So we went edge rusher, offensive line. We do have a couple offensive linemen. We do have a couple edge rushers because we have Sweat and we now added Diaby. We do have a running back. This is tough. This is a tough call right here. Let's look in the secondary. Who's in the secondary that Jay Ward could really help out here? Jarvarius Owens could help out here. Christian Young, who I kind of like more as a linebacker than as a safety, he could help out quite a bit. Let's go to the corner list. Terrell Smith is a corner that they looked at, and I think he's a pretty exciting player. I love Starling Thomas, though, as a player. Let's look at the linebackers. I think I'm going with the Sac State kid here. I like Marte Mapu, a special teamer, late 5th round. I think that's a steal. Okay, let's go back to all. We're now at pick number 190, and Roschon Johnson's there. I'm just taking Roschon Johnson. I don't care. I don't care if he's going to make the team or not. I mean, that to me, he's just too good, way too good. In this mock, there's no reason he should have been there, but he's there. So now we're at the end of the 6th round. We're at pick number 216, and we only have 2 picks left. So what do you want? What do you want left at this point? You got a running back, you got a linebacker, you got a couple edge rushers, you got an offensive lineman, you got another running back, you got Riley Moss as a corner. I think I'm looking for day 3 corners here. But let's just take a look who's the best players on the board. Jalen Moreno Cropper is interesting. Good receiver. That's Jake's receiver from Antonio Maffei. I think I'm going Maffei. I love Maffei. I'm going him. He went to Sarah. He's a kind of brawler, tough guy. I really like Maffei. All right, now we're at the end of the draft. This is the last pick of the draft. This is the last pick the 49ers will have in the draft. And this is tough because there's a lot of good players still sitting here. Dwayne McBride, the running back from UAB, has incredible contact balance. Hard to knock off his pins. Junior Fehoko was at the Niners Pro Day. He's another edge rusher. He's not crazy skilled, but he's got unbelievable motor. Michael Jefferson is a gigantic wide receiver. Keandre Coburn might be the replacement for Kinlaw. And this linebacker right here, Charlie Thomas, I think is an absolute star linebacker. So I'm going to go Charlie Thomas. And I know people would say, what? You're going to go linebacker? But Charlie Thomas is great. And if you don't believe me, this kid's an academic All-American. He was like third in the nation in tackles. He's like the modern-day linebacker. He's like 6'3", 210, 215. He's smaller. But he breaks down in space against athletes amazingly. He's a tackle machine. He's a special teamer to help. He adds tons of speed to your defense. He replaces Azeez Al-Shaair. He's just really special. So just to break it down, we traded Trey Lance in this mock draft for Montez Sweat in a conditional pick in next year's draft. So that's how this draft started, with Montez Sweat. Then I added Byron Young, the defensive tackle from Alabama, who I think is super underrated. Guy's got 34-inch arms, incredibly functionally strong, very, very fast, much better athlete than you think. This guy's going to be a terrific pro. Love Byron Young. McClendon Curtis, another long-arm tackle, kind of a developmental player at 112. Not going to play tackle this year, probably going to sit the bench. But love him long-term. I think Burford and McClendon Curtis is your long-term right side of your line. You get your tight end in Schoonmaker, who I think is physical and ready to play right now. You get your replacement at quarterback in a guy in Jake Haener that's ready to play right now. You get a corner in Riley Moss, who's a terrific zone corner. Keaton Mitchell gives you that home run hitter, speedster in the backfield. And Joey Fisher is a developmental offensive lineman who can play right guard or right tackle. Tough guy, pancake machine. Yaya Diaby, just a 263-pound edge rusher who marries, once again, collegiate production and elite athleticism. Guy ran in the 4.5s at 260. He's going to be a really good player. Marte Mapu is he might be the answer to Travis Kelce. How do you beat Kelce? You put Marte Mapu on him. Roshan Johnson was not a guy that you may have to shuffle the backfield somehow. There's too many backs there, but too good. Every draft, you got to give yourself latitude to go for the really good player who falls into a round that you just didn't expect him to be there. So that's Roshan. Roshan is a terrific football player. And maybe he can put on a few pounds and be their fullback of the future behind Juice. Antonio Maffei is just a former D lineman who played at Sarah High School in San Mateo, played for UCLA, showed up at 411 pounds, lost the weight. I think at his pro day he was at 339. But this guy kicks your ass. This guy is a road grader. And if they come out of this draft with an Antonio Maffei, Joey Fisher, and McClendon Curtis, they will have makings of a very, very good line for the next 3 to 5 years. And that's where football starts. It all starts on the offensive line. And then Charlie Thomas. Charlie Thomas is a great player. In my opinion, when you get to the 7th round, you're going for Charlie Thomas. Now, who did I not draft that I'd be looking to sign based on this? Elijah Higgins from Stanford as my as a flex tight end. I'm calling him up. No doubt, Joseph Ngata, the receiver from Clemson, who trained this offseason with Brandon Ayuk, calling him up. For sure. So, and probably a couple, corners that, I thought would be great day 3 corners, and I just didn't get to them. I think there's a lot of great depth there. So there you go. Mock 6.0 is in the books, and this is the final one. Byron, starting with Montez Sweat, then Byron Young, McClendon Curtis, Luke Schoonmaker, Jake Hayner, Riley Moss, Keaton Mitchell, Joey Fisher, Yaya Diaby, Marte Mapu, Roshan Johnson, Antonio Mafi, and rounding it out with the great Charlie Thomas, the linebacker from Georgia. All right, thanks to Pig and a Pickle for being a proud sponsor of the Krueg Show. Thanks to all of you for supporting the Krueg Show on YouTube.